The purpose of learning is growth, and our minds, unlike our bodies, can continue to grow as long as we continue to live. And that's a quote by Mortimer Allender. And I'm thinking he was around a long time ago because who's named Mortimer these days? So I want to say howdy from the profitable photographer. My guest, Cris Duncan, is from Texas. So howdy is an appropriate greeting.
Yes.
Yes. And
Howdy.
super excited because Cris is the new head of the PPA affiliate school, Texas School. He is in Lubbock, Texas, and he does
Mhm.
high-end commercial and portrait photography. He also is highly set after. People are setting after you, sought after for his skills as an educator. And let's see, he's a CPP approved instructor, PPA juror, and the founder of Find Your Focus Photography Education. And also, he is the recipient of an education award from PPA. So I think he knows some stuff, and we're going to like dig in and get some stuff out of his brain. So, welcome, Cris.
Well, glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah,
So,
I'm so happy you said yes. So, let's see. First question is just a short and sweet version of how you got into photography slash the business of photography.
yeah, well, to make a long story short, my interest was piqued when I was a teenager, just doing a project at school with film and developing some prints, and piqued my interest. And camera really hadn't left my side since then. So, we've been in business a little over 21 years,
Hmm.
and it's what my wife and I do here in Lubbock, Texas. So.
Awesome. Awesome. So tell us about Texas School, since I mentioned that right off the bat.
Yeah, well, Texas School of Professional Photography is a week-long event here in Texas. It's in the Metroplex area. It's what we call the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's actually in Addison, but Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I think it's one of the best events to and the best educational opportunities for you to just grow in your skills.
Hmm.
Uh, we have classes that range if you're needing a business growth, if you're needing to level up your lighting or camera skills, if you're just starting out in photography, there's a spot for you, or you've been around for 20 years like me,
Hmm.
and are looking for the next growth opportunity. We have places for that too. So we learn hard, we play hard, and we grow at Texas School.
I bet. Uh, let's see. How many instructors do you have this year coming up in
A
2026?
32 week long, we have 32 week long instructors, and we have eight pre-con, or we're calling them Texas School Saturday instructors.
Oh,
And those are
wow.
single day
Wow.
classes.
Wow. So what's the best party of the week?
The best party or the best part?
Party. Party.
Uh, we have a couple we have a couple different parties. I really like the Texas party. We go to a big Texas dance hall. We have some famous Texas barbecue and live music. So that's always a fun. We kick off the week right with our Texas party. So that's always a fun event.
That works for me. Uh, I did. Did you ever go to anywhere, any other state, like come to California schools and such?
N n no, I taught at a couple other schools, never made it to West Coast school, but
So there used to be one up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I went one time, and those people can party and drink and party and be up till 4 in the morning and then get up for class and do the work. So yeah, I was humbled. But yeah, can I just fly in just for the dance?
would like to have you all week.
Okay.
We'll find you a class and we'll let you go to the party.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. All right, let's see. So, oh, so I wanted to share my experience with the California version, which is called West Coast School. 36 years ago, I was looking at investing the time and the money, both the registration fee, and then at that time we had to stay in hotels and motels and get
Mhm.
meals on our own. Uh, and I was like, that's a lot, and I don't know if I can afford it. Should I do it? And somebody said to me, this is going to put your career in warp drive. And so I signed up for my class, Joyce Wilson. Do you know Joyce?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
do. Yeah.
Incredible. And absolutely, from the time I got home, I just hit the ground running and probably attended 15 over my 40 years. Uh,
Mhm.
so maybe more, maybe 20. So anyway, so I love that you've taken over the job of being the director, and I know it's going to be great. So,
Yeah. Thank you.
okay.
Yeah, we're excited for it. It's a new opportunity, and your story's not unique.
Hmm?
Whether it's West Coast or the East Coast or right in the middle of Texas school. We've been saying it's 1 week, but endless possibilities because it is an investment. That was a great word. It's not an expense. It's an
No.
investment, and it's an investment that yields returns and it yields good dividends.
And I
And
learned so
like,
much from the other people, not just my teacher.
mhm,
That's something that you can't realize that over coffee or lunchtime or standing around at the Texas barbecue dance hall, that people can say something that would change your life forever. It could be just one thought. So,
yeah.
yeah, and it's fun.
And that's the power and the beauty of in-person education, Lucy. It's just,
Okay.
um, you know, from, s- I mean, you can learn some stuff and gain some information by watching YouTube or reading a magazine article or even listening to a podcast. But being in the room with other people that all have the same goal, they're all driving towards the same finish line. And it that's the power of it. That's the beauty of the in-person education. You get that instant feedback. It's a safe place to fail. There's people around you to help celebrate your successes and build
Mhm.
you up when you make a mistake, and you leave a changed person. And that's why I'm excited to keep moving with Texas. It changed my life. It sounds like that live education changed your life, and
Absolutely.
excited to have it change other people's lives as we continue
Mhm.
to grow in our craft.
Mhm. One thing it did for me too, the first one, is it was very humbling because I knew that I was given a gift in photography, that I had a talent, a natural eye. I also have the ability to make things happen. So when I showed up, and I'd only been in business 3 years. uh, I thought I was pretty good. And then there were people in my class that had been in business a long time that were still open to learning. And I
Mhm.
was pretty humbled when I saw what they did. And we had an assignment. She had us partner up and plan and photograph um, each other in a way that expressed some things about us. And by that time, I was so overwhelmed that I was a better model than I was the photographer. She did love one of the images that I did and used it on something, but I just
Right.
started absorbing because I knew I was way out of my depth, which is good. Which is good. So, what's one of the first classes that really rocked your world and why?
Tony Corbell.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, 2002, learning from Tony, learned from him again, 2008, learned from him again probably in 2009, and continue to learn. And that's one thing you mentioned. You went to West Coast school for 15 years, and we have a lot of people that come to Texas school year after year, and sometimes you take a class once or twice, or I mean more than once, two
Hmm.
or three times. Because, like you said, you were so overwhelmed, your capacity to learn all that Joyce could teach you was just full. It was just that sponge could not hold any more water. But you come
Exactly.
back the next year. Yeah, but you come back the next year, and you've got a little more capacity to take in some more of the information and learn from that. And so I call it will, skill, and refill. You have to keep refilling that skill or you're going to lose it.
Yeah.
And yeah, and over time uh, you make big leaps, but over time you continue to make those small little jumps too.
Yes. Two people that any convention that I attended, I would go to their class was Tim Kelly in Florida
Hmm.
and Drake Buseth.
Yes.
Do you know Drake?
I met him briefly. Yeah.
So he just
So,
had this quality of posing families that I kept trying to crack the code.
mhm.
And time after time, I'd get a little better, and I'd see how he had people lean in. And then
Yeah.
one year, he did a class where he said he poses people because he's also a musician, like musical notes. So
Yep.
he roughs it out, and then he figures out how he can move people a little bit so that you could sing it practically. And you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
What
have seen him do that demo. It's really powerful.
Yes. What are a couple of things that you learned from Tony Corbell, who all three of the names I mentioned have been on this show, by the way? If people are like, I want to know more about them, well, look for look for their names in my archives. So, what are a
Okay,
couple
yeah.
of things you learned from my dear friend Tony?
Oh yeah, I'm former San Diego with you there for a while.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You know, t Tony had such a way to, and still does, to make the technical not as scary. Um, and so that's, I think what I learned from him is just to really understand the foundations.
Hmm.
You've got to know the foundations of your craft, from exposure and color and the way light works, and even how posing and some of that can convey a message. And then once you understand those foundations and those technical elements, then it opens up your creativity because now you don't have to focus on is my lighting correct or is my exposure where I want it to be. It just, to me, that's where it was empowering. And that's why I learned from Tony so many different times, is because I gained a little bit more each time and my confidence grew each time. And then when I became more proficient in my technical abilities, the science and the math part of photography that we need to know, I
Hmm.
was able to then season it and be artistic and creative that made it my voice.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
When you master the tools, then
Hmm.
you're free. When you're scrambling, um, I I never had a studio that was the size that would give me a kind of freedom. I used the apartment above my garage that's now a vacation rental if anyone wants to come to San Diego and hang out with me. Um, and it's like a 12 by 13 space. And so lighting was always something that uh, studio lighting was always a challenge. And
Hmm.
I could replay my decisions, I would find an affordable studio space to do. I mean, affordable is relative, but where I could have the freedom to play a little bit. So, do you use studio lighting a lot in your work? You said you're
yes.
commercial
Yeah.
and um,
Commercial and portraits, what
portraits.
we focus on here in Lubbock. And yeah, almost never say always, but I I lean on studio lighting, whether it's outside or in the studio or in a client's home,
Mhm.
quite heavily. So
Yeah. So I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours. Is there something that somebody said or that you got back from a class and that something that just changed everything, you know, stepped up your work? I know there's a thousand things, but is there something
Mhm.
specific that you remember from, and it could be from convention, it could be from any education
Yeah, I probably have to dig deep in my archives. I'm sure there's something there. You know,
that
I
that caused you to like see the world differently or see photography differently or work, change your work flow or style or
um, there's probably something there, and it's not coming to the surface.
okay. So
So,
mine, Stewart, there was a man in Canada, the east coast of Canada. Maybe he's even in Nova Scotia. That the class was focused on the art of seeing, and he
mhm.
said, something that everybody. It's great if you learn this. Um, that the brightest part of the picture becomes the subject. And if you look back at my work from before that week and after that week, you'll notice a huge improvement in my work. And at the time, I was doing weddings, and I would get set on a pose, and then I would look at the screen and go, oh, there's a big bright sky there, or there's something over there. So
Mhm.
then I'd move in, I'd do tilts, and it was a very awkward weekend because it was like my eyeballs had been replaced and now I saw. So yeah, that's one of mine. Yeah. So are
Yeah.
other did comment? Did I cut you off?
I, yeah, that's a good one. I was thinking more, I don't know, more philosophical quotes or something that changed me. There's lots of little insights like that, he picked up
Mhm.
along the way. Um, I see photography as a lot of relativity, smooth to rough, light to dark, blurry to sharp. So I think those relative differences are what our eye is drawn to. Um, and I'm a big fan of film and cinema. I learn a lot from watching cinema and cinematographers and kind
Mhm.
of get jealous that I don't have a $38 million budget and
Yeah,
beautiful Hollywood people all the time,
I
and go
know.
anywhere I want.
Yeah.
But just learn a lot from how they can use, either be a single large source or multiple small sources just to really highlight little parts of the scene that you want people to move through. So,
Is
yeah.
that something that I know lighting is one of your superpowers? When you're the teacher, is that a big part of your curriculum?
Yes. When I taught at Texas School for 10 years, it was all on lighting education. Um, I mean, anytime you teach lighting, there's camera skills and there's probably some posing and composition that goes through there. But if I were going to do a hierarchical thing of what's important to me in a photograph, lighting would be at the top.
Hmm.
Um, Composition follows probably close behind.
Hmm.
I want really good exposure and stuff. And then pose comes, if it's a person, pose comes later and expression. But if you talk to my wife, Deanna, who's a master photographer and does great work, her hierarchy is like expression and pose
Hmm.
and color and lighting falls down, And so which was how we make a great balance. We see things differently. But
Right,
yeah, I like to put a lot of emphasis on lighting. I feel like that's my paintbrush that I can kind of control.
right. And as a judge, does your wife also judge?
She is. I've been judging for about 10 years and she is new to the judging thing, but she's approved and is a judge as well. Yes.
Cool. Well, maybe we'll get
So,
you to judge our San Diego uh,
yep. She's
bi-monthly.
always looking for opportunities.
Oh, good, good. Uh, um, so if you're on the same panel, then you probably are a great blend because you're going to pick up on lighting, she's going to pick up on impact. And,
Yeah.
it's a nice balance. I found that back in the olden days when all the judges were men, except for one or two here and
Yeah.
there was so much more emphasis on the technical. And when we'd get a panel with a few women, then the emotion, now this is a big blanket statement, but that there would be more of that creativity,
Mhm.
scoring higher, the emotional impact. So some guys, I thought, okay, it's like giving that one extra point is like money out of their pocket. Like, come on. You know, that
Yeah.
maybe that wasn't supposed to be sharp right there, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's so much
That's
to
funny.
learn with the live judging as well.
Yes.
Why do you think people would be why it's important to enter pre-competition and listen to critique and watch other competitions? What's the value of that?
Well, I think putting yourself out there, putting your work for other people to see it, for peers,
Mhm.
and colleagues to see it's important. Um, I would venture to guess a lot of photographers that or maybe are hesitant to put their work out there, um, are probably excited to watch cooking competitions or other reality TV type competitions where someone is, putting their craft out there for someone else to look at it. And I
That's
think
fun.
those are, I think what for me, image competition, I mean, it was nice to be recognized. It's nice to win awards and it's nice to get degrees and pins and such. But, my in-person education I learned from Tony and other people like Tim Kelly that you mentioned, or Don McGregor, or Don Dixon, or I mean, Joe Glada, could name Greg Daniel, lots of people, Elizabeth Holman that I've learned from. Those were like, those were little chunks that moved me along.
Hmm.
And I think what image competition did is it gave me the small subtle changes.
Right.
Um, the way you might turn a hand or the way you might move a face or the way you don't want to show too much white of the eyes if someone's looking askew. And just it's those little things that you might not catch in a class, even though the instructor may have told you. But
Hmm.
when it's your image and someone's talking about it, you pick up those little things.
Hmm.
'Cause those could have been the difference between an image meriting or not, or being image excellence
Right.
or not, or winning a trophy and not, or those subtle little things.
Right.
And I think, a fold in a jacket. I mean, all these little things that you may not think
Hmm.
about. To me, that's what competition um, did for. That's how it helped me and impacted me.
So how
So,
does it help the business? Because most people don't care that someone's a master photographer or a craftsman,
Mhm.
PPA photographer. Um, Now, it doesn't hurt, especially these days when I'm sure every block in my neighborhood has a professional photographer, air quotes if you're not watching the
Sure.
YouTube. So how does that help our business to know which
Well,
way goes a hand?
yeah. Well, I think when you can, if you're award winning, I think that helps. I think people do care that the person they hired is qualified. Um, but it allows you to produce a product for your clients that's a superior product. And
Hmm.
I think that's where, you
Hmm.
know, so I think that's how it helps your business. Gives you
I
the confidence to create the work that your clients are searching for.
mhm. I did a children's show once, like a trade show, and I probably had 8 wall portraits on display. And people would walk up and go, "Oh, wow, I love your work." And I asked many people, which ones are the strongest? And guess which ones were the strongest? That they could see, they didn't know diddly squat about PPA.
Mhm.
It was my loan collection prints, and my one of them, you can't see it from here, got Best Portrait in the Western United States, and everybody loved that. And this little
Mhm.
boy, if you're on YouTube, you can see that one above me, that went loan, this went loan. So people, there's something innate in humans about beauty and power and impact that we can see even if we're not trained to see it. So yes, I agree
Yes.
with you that it makes our work better, and so clients can see the difference. And now there's lots of very average clients that are average photographers that are doing extremely well in their business. Many of the most talented people I know struggle with the business aspect, but it doesn't hurt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Are
Yeah.
there
So
some
yeah,
other,
I
go ahead.
I agree that you kind of mentioned that, people can tell even without training. And so I always like to, whenever I'm teaching a class, I always like to do this analogy between cooking and photography. I think they're very similar.
Mhm.
They're both they're both technical skills that have subjectivity to
Oops, you just froze up.
it, right?
Oh, there
So
you go.
Asian food,
You froze for a sec.
so if you're cooking Asian or Italian or American food, it all starts the same. And it starts with hot oil in a pan and chopping an onion.
Hmm.
So that technical skill has to be there. And I'll ask my students and I'll say, how many of you have ever been trained in the culinary arts? Very rarely does someone raise their hand.
Hmm.
And then I'll ask them, but how many of you have had a really exceptional meal? Every hand goes up.
Hmm.
Everyone's had an exceptional meal. And I'll say, ask for a few volunteers. If you've had an exceptional meal, tell me why it was exceptional. And they'll say, oh, I just enjoyed it. Well, was it because the steak was seared or it was 140 degrees? Was it because the potatoes were boiled or they were no one can tell me the technique behind it. They just know it was good.
Hmm.
And I'll say, okay, you have no training and you know this meal is good. How many with no training whatsoever know when a meal has too much salt? Every hand goes
Everybody.
up.
Right.
And I'm like, photography is not any different. We don't give our clients enough credit that when you're lighting or the emotion doesn't match the pose or the color harmony doesn't go, there's all these little nuances of our craft that if they're not done well, to the client looking at our picture, it's like too much salt. They
Hmm.
might not know, they might
Hmm.
not know what it is, and they've had no training in visual arts, but they can tell you when it's exceptional, just like you could tell when you had a great meal, and you
Hmm.
can tell when you have a meal that has too much salt.
Right.
Our clients can do the same with our work.
I
And
love that.
competition and in-person education, when I'm talking about in person, I mean your butt's in the seat.
Hmm.
you know, you're learning, you're working on it. It's the safe place to fail. That kind of stuff has taught us how to season our work so
Hmm.
we can avoid images with too much salt.
Right. There was
Yeah.
somebody that I watched like 3 days of Creative Live back when Creative Live was one of the
Mhm.
few online places that you could get free education. And that person came to San Diego and did a class. And I learned more in the 2 hours sitting live, my butt in a seat, than I
Mhm.
did watching 3 days of this guy. And part of it for me is I need to be able to ask a question because if I don't understand something, then I'm lost. And so whatever follows that doesn't uh, really
Right.
stick. So, yeah,
Yes.
true, true. Butts
Yeah.
in
I
seats.
think that's right. I think there's kind of three levels to the education. One is just information.
Hmm.
You can get information from YouTube. You can get it from watching a creative live. It's just the facts. It's just the facts. The next level where I think you really get on in-person education is where you get understanding. You know why the facts do what they do. Like I know my car needs oil and it
Hmm.
needs fluids and where the gas goes and I know the facts about the car, but if it breaks down, I have no understanding on how to fix it.
Right.
And so I would need in-person education to gain that understanding. And then finally it's wisdom, that you can take that knowledge and understanding and apply it to you in a way that benefits you, your client, and your community. So, but it's hard to get that understanding reading a book or being behind a screen.
Right.
So,
Right. And I think the in-person education helps us develop more confidence
Hmm.
because we get feedback. When um, so another story, Arnold Newman, the very late great photographer of artists and celebrities throughout the 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, he did a West Coast school for us. And now he wasn't really that great of a teacher. He, honestly, he would talk about his stories of shoots, and then he would send us off to photograph. Um, and each one of us had an assignment that we came up with his guidance. And at the end of the week, he critiqued each of us. And when he saw my work, which was black and white and street photography, but with a children as an emphasis,
Hmm.
he basically said, "You've got it. Whatever you want to do, you can accomplish that. You've got that thing. You're there. You're ready. It's just a matter of choice." Don't you think that gave me a lot of confidence to
Oh,
have
yeah,
Arnold
absolutely.
Newman say, that I had the thing? And he didn't say that to everybody. He would say, "Who are you? I don't understand you." Or, so yeah, it's great to get
That's
feedback from
fantastic.
people, just like with a coach. Like I've been doing coaching, Chris, for the last 10 years, and my way of giving back to our community is having a
Mhm.
coach highlight what we're doing well can be so confidence boosting. And having those tools that you talked about, definitely. Would you agree with with all of that about
Yeah.
the confidence?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, are there other live education opportunities that you enjoy, that you learn from, or that you recommend to people?
Well, I got to say, Texas school is my favorite.
Huh. I
For sure.
didn't pick that up.
Well, Texas school is my favorite.
But any
Um,
different types of live education.
yeah, I think they all have value and they all have a place and they all have a different purpose. I mean, you go into a place like Imaging USA, you know, you're going to get little nuggets, you're going to get little sound bites
Hmm.
from a 90-minute presentation. And those are great things that you can learn and they can tools that can go in your tool pouch. Um, but it may not be as transformational as if you did a day long or a 2-day class or something like Texas School where you're with an instructor for a week and you can deep dive and really work on what that subject matter is, depending on
Hmm.
that course.
Yeah,
Whether it's business marketing or whether it's lighting and camera skills or digital post-production. Um, so I think they all have a place.
right. I think,
I like, so if I was gonna, if I was gonna start over again, I wish I had done more like 1 day and 2-day workshops and less popcorning.
right. Two
Because
hours here.
I mean, so many stories are the same as like, oh, I just went to this one program and this guy was so great. He talked about how he loves to use his light meter and he can set his lights and get perfect exposures and ratios.
Mhm.
And I learned it was so great. And then I went to lunch and then I went to this other seminar and this guy talked
Mhm.
about how he hates using a light meter and he just kind of feels it and goes
Yeah.
and you just leave there like, yeah.
Confused. Yeah.
And so,
Yeah. Well, I
you know,
find
that's,
conventions, first of all, they have the 1 day and 2 day
they
pre-convention
do. Yes.
with
Yes.
imaging and with what I call WIPI, WPPI.
Mhm.
I
Hmm.
find being in the atmosphere, being around 10,000 excited photographers, making connections, meeting
Yes.
vendors, uh, just all of that, celebrating us, getting the
Hmm.
awareness of what a wonderful um, profession this is. is very inspiring and motivating to keep going. So I get that more from the PPA than Whippy because PPA is such a
Yeah.
family that people that you might meet once and then you see them again the next year. And like I was telling Cris that my Uncle Dudley uh, um, started a church in Lubbock, Texas. Cris is in
Mhm.
Lubbock. So, Cris, one time I was looking at the print competitions and I saw a photograph of a stained glass and a big tall cross and
Yeah.
a pastor behind the pulpit, very small. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I was like, oh, that kind of looks like my Uncle Dudley. And I got closer and closer, and it was my Uncle Dudley. And I was on the bus to go to, I think it was Atlanta. So we went somewhere on a bus and
Mhm.
for the party. And who did I happen to sit next to but the photographer that had taken that photograph?
Oh, how fun.
And so I got to tell him what that meant to me. And then the next year we ran into each other again. And yeah, so it's a lonely career if you don't have a wife or a
Hmm.
husband to join you.
Yeah.
I'm also big on the local PPA affiliates, or some only have states. Um,
Hmm.
just everywhere that we can learn in person, I think has stronger value uh,
Yeah.
than online.
Yeah. It's I, th- whether it's Image in USA with 10,000 people, or it's Texas School when you're in a class of 24, or it's your local camera club or your local group that may have 12, it doesn't matter. I don't think the numbers are as important as the fact that you're in a group, that you're in a community.
Hmm.
Um, so many people, they go to exercise classes, they go to a gym to exercise with someone, or they'll learn from a coach. They'll go to church or some type of event, maybe a speaker event comes through, or they'll go to that with other people that enjoy the same thing, right? They go to dinner with their friends and enjoy the same things. We do all these things together in the community. And then we have our business and we think, oh, I'll just figure it out on myself. I'll just figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
I'll just, and I'm like, wait, our whole life has been built around community and bringing people together and moving forward with a common goal and a common interest. But why, when we get to our business, are we like, well, I'm not going to do that. And we have the Chamber of Commerce, and you've got the Small Business Administration, and you have your local camera groups, and you have the PPA. There's so many opportunities um, for us to get together and learn.
Yeah.
And my dad was an electrician. I worked for him for a while. He worked until his dying day, till he could
Mm.
not work anymore. Um, when he quit working because he was sick, and he died like 2 weeks later. I mean, that's how my dad worked. His whole
Yeah.
life as an electrician, and he was never afraid to welcome other contractors to learn the craft.
Right.
He wanted them to do it the right way. They need to get their license. They need to get their training, right? Just like we're talking about. Like, go to
Mhm.
Image USA, go to Texas School, learn the right things, get the training. And at his funeral, there was probably 40 commercial electricians there
Wow.
that used to work for him.
Huh.
Right? They used to work for my dad. And And I think that's just a beautiful picture that, he even had that community around him,
Mm.
and he trained these people. They worked for him as journeymen. Then they got their master's license and they started their own business. And guess what? There was still work for them to do. There was still work for my dad to do. And I don't think photography is any different. I
No.
have no problem. Obviously, I've been an educator. I love education. And I'm sure you're the same, Lucy, of
Mm.
sharing what you've learned and passing it on, even knowing that person next door may have one of your clients one day. I
Right.
think there's plenty of work for all of us. We all see things differently.
Hmm.
Um, and if I get really philosophical, I feel like it's our responsibility to make sure the industry survives. It's a beautiful profession.
Yes.
It's so important. It's we could all talk about someone that's passed away and how the photos are the so important, or when someone's house is on fire, what do they want to get out? They want to get out their wedding album, or they want to get out portraits. Nobody says, "Oh my God, I better get my spreadsheets or my budget." No one runs in the house to save those things. They go to save those tangible things like photos. And I think it's our responsibility to bring up the next generation,
Hmm.
and to pass on what we've learned. And I think
Absolutely.
we need to do that in the community. We need to do that side by side or across a table.
Hmm.
Um, I
I
love
agree.
getting to meet you and talk to you through the
Yeah,
screen, but
it's
this
such
would
a
this
treat
would
for
be
me.
such a different conversation if we were at the same table.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, I wouldn't be
Yeah.
asking all the questions, but a big part of why I do this is a couple of things that you said. Number one is I love a good conversation, and sometimes in person, we never get a chance to sit for an hour or so and really talk to
Mhm,
somebody and ask them what they know without distraction. So, we
mhm.
don't have our phones, we don't have other people wanting our attention. So,
Right.
this concentrated effort is powerful. And I feel this responsibility to share not just what I know, but all y'all that are out there teaching as many people as we can touch with ideas that, like, hopefully today motivates people to find out where their school is. Look at the Texas
Mhm,
school roster. I think there's Rocky Mountain. There's um, our West Coast school is in June. You know, to to help people take the next steps. That's what
mhm,
I love about doing this is knowing, like you said, I'm not someone that's going to travel all over the country teaching, at least not at this point in my life. But people did that for me. Charles Lewis
mhm.
came to town and preached the gospel of wall portrait sales, and uh, those maybe it's 20 teachers that I spent a week with, and Ken Whitmire, who's no longer with us, and
Mhm.
his conference once a year on wall portraits, and Joyce Wilson, she's still teaching,
Yep.
and so getting getting the information out there because the next generation, we don't want what we know about the value of those printed books and portraits to
Mhm.
just fade away into digital files that will melt like snow in the
Yep.
spring. So I love that.
Right.
And I'm
Yeah.
guessing that your heart for saying yes to taking the directorship over from who was I should know,
Don Dixon.
Don
Don
Dixon
Dixon did it. Yeah,
for
he did it for
decades,
36
right?
years.
Yeah,
Yeah, 36 years.
yeah. So I know that it has to be that passion for helping others that because it can't be easy. You've got a business to run and this, but
Yeah.
I think it's awesome that you committed to that. And I imagine you'll learn and grow from the process of being the director, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm absolutely. Absolutely.
So
So,
I have two quick questions.
okay.
And the clock on the wall says that's all. I don't remember where
Okay.
that came from. Um, so if someone wants to connect with you, how do they do that? You personally.
Connect with me
Yeah.
on, I'm sorry.
Where would they go to see your work and maybe send you an email or something else
Okay.
if they have a question?
Sure. Sure. Website is cjduncan.com. You can see our work there and our emails there. If you want to connect with me on socials, it's Instagram, it's at cjduncan,
Okay,
and on Facebook as well. It's Chris without an H. So Cris, if you're
great.
looking for Chris Duncan on Facebook. Um,
And the second half of that question is, what are the dates for Texas School? And I'm sure it must be texasschool.com or some really
Oh,
logical
that's close. Yeah.
way to find it.
Texas School. Yeah, texasschool.org. The dates are April 25th through May 1. We have Texas School Saturday, which are day classes all day. We've got 8 different one of those, and one of them is going to be presented entirely in Spanish. We're excited about that to reach a whole new photographer, Spanish speaking photographer. And so we're excited to offer that education for them. We have 32 week-long classes that are going to be that week. The important date to know, obviously, block off the dates for the event, but the important date is January 3rd, 2026 at 11 p.m. Central. That's when
Where's that?
registration opens.
Okay,
That's when registration opens. And there's 32 classes. These are limited from 16 to 30 people. And so when the class is full, it is full and they're on a wait list.
great.
So to have the best opportunity to get the instructor that you want and to learn from, you need to register at January 3rd at 11 p.m. Central Time. Many classes sell out within the first few seconds. Um, I think only Taylor Swift sells out faster than Texas School.
I love
So,
it. I love it. I just had a flashback of lining up in college to try to get the classes I wanted or needed, uh, and
right.
and the panic, all of that. So, and I'm sure there's a mailing list that they can get on to get more email
Yep.
info.
Yep.
So great. Okay.
Yep, go to the website. We even have a quiz on the website under classes and instructors. You can take an assessment quiz, and there's 48 different pathways that lead to the instructors, so you can help narrow down the class that's best for you. So
Brilliant.
we have 32 instructors, and we feel like they're all relevant, and they go from beginners to someone like me that's been in the business 20 years, and you can learn your camera to advanced digital compositing to building websites and everything in between. So,
Awesome. So the last question is just either a parting thought or if there's something that you wanted to teach us or share. So the floor is yours, Mr. Duncan.
okay, thanks for that. I would just encourage your listeners to find a place to connect. I hope it's Texas School, but I understand that that's not for everybody.
Hmm.
But I'd love to see it Texas School. And if you can't find one in your area, be the one that starts it.
Mm,
Be the one that calls some of the other photographers and, hey, let's go have lunch, or let's get together and do a photo walk downtown, or you come over to my studio and we can discuss some marketing plans or something. Be the one to start that group
I
because
love it.
there's more that bring us together than separate us.
Mhm.
And photography is such a giving profession. It's such a needed profession. And you're going to go farther. You're going to be more rewarded, and you're going to have a better quality of life when you do it with someone that has the same beliefs you do.
I love it.
So,
Well, thank you so much, Chris. I knew this would be a great conversation, and I'm sure my listeners are agreeing with that thought.
hope so.
That my Southern mother-in-law, former mother-in-law, would say, sure appreciate you. She was from Mississippi.
Yes, that's right.
So, yeah.
Well,
And
thank you so much for
everybody,
inviting me.
be sure to subscribe and tell others about this and listen regularly to this show because I have so many amazing guests, including the great and powerful Cris Duncan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lucy. This has been great. Appreciate the invite.
Thanks.